I didn't plan to disappear. I never thought I'd become the kind of story people tell in whispers. The kind that starts with, "She was just on vacation," and ends with, "They never found a trace." The Caribbean feels like paradise on a postcard, but when you're alone, that paradise is just a thin paper mask, and someone is always waiting to tear it in half. My name is Lena. 3 days ago, I was just another happy tourist. I was sunburned, laughing at my own bad accent, and overpacking sunscreen. I had this soft, naive belief that the world was mostly safe, as long as you smiled at it. I arrived with a backpack, a camera, and a sense of freedom. My hotel was perfect, too perfect. White stone, palm fronds swaying, the scent of hibiscus heavy in the air. The ocean looked like melted glass. That first evening, I posted a photo to Instagram, a sunset drink, gold light on the water. Caption, "Living my best life." I didn't know someone was using that post to clock my exact location. The next day, I booked a local boat tour. Nothing fancy, just a guide named Mateo, a few other couples, and the promise of a hidden lagoon. Mateo smiled a lot. Too much. It was the kind of smile that didn't reach his eyes. It was just part of the uniform. He asked where I was from, how long I was staying, if I was traveling alone. "Just me," I'd said, trying to sound brave. I saw him glance at my expensive camera, then at my wrists. When the tour ended, the world still felt friendly. I took a shower, put on a light sundress, and walked down to the shoreline to watch the dusk. That was my last moment of being Lena. It happened in a heartbeat. The smell of salt, the sound of distant laughter from a beach bar. Then a man accidentally bumped into me, hard. "Sorry," he muttered. As I turned to face him, a hand clamped over my mouth. A cloth soaked with something sharp and chemical pressed against my nose. My heart hit my ribs like a trapped bird. I tried to scream, but the air turned to lead. The stars above the palm trees began to spin, blurring into long streaks of white, and then the world went black. When I woke up, my mouth tasted like copper. My head felt like it had been hollowed out and filled with hot sand. I was on a thin mattress in a room with no windows. Above me, a ceiling fan turned with a rhythmic dying squeak. Creak, creak, creak. The air was thick, humid, like breathing through a wet towel. I tried to move my arms. A jagged bolt of pain shot through my wrists. Rope, coarse industrial rope, tied tight. The door opened. A man walked in. He didn't wear a mask. He didn't have a weapon. He just looked at me like I was a piece of luggage that had finally arrived at the warehouse. "You're awake," he said. His English was perfect, too calm. "Why?" I managed to whisper. My throat felt like I'd swallowed glass. He tilted his head. "You tourists, you make it so easy. You post your lives in real time. You walk alone in the dark. You think because the water is blue, the people are kind." He stepped closer, setting a bottle of water on the floor, just out of my reach. "Don't worry," he said with a chilling smile. "I'm not going to hurt you. You're far too valuable for that." "Is it money?" I choked out. "My family, they'll pay." He laughed. It was a dry, hollow sound. "No, Lena, not your family. Someone is coming for you. Someone who has been looking for a girl exactly like you." He turned to leave, pausing at the heavy wooden door. "Try to look pretty when they get here." The lock clicked. I lay there in the dark. Somewhere, far away, I could hear a steel drum band playing. The world was still on vacation. People were still clinking glasses and dancing under the stars, only a mile away from where I was being sold. I stopped pulling at the ropes. I needed to think. I started to count. The seconds between the fan's squeaks, the number of footsteps in the hallway, the smell of the diesel engine nearby. If someone was coming for me, I had to be ready. And if no one was coming, then I'd have to find a way to make the ocean red.
1, 2, 3. The fan above me clicked, skit, and clicked again. The same rhythm as before. Good. That meant time hadn't jumped. No more drugs, no transport. I was still in the same box. I didn't scream this time. Screaming is for people who still think someone is coming to help because they heard a noise. I knew better. I sat still, wrists bound, shoulders forced into a fake relaxation. A different man entered today, younger. He smelled like a sickening mix of expensive sunscreen and cheap diesel. "Water," he said. He placed the bottle close enough for me to reach if I bowed my head. I drank, slowly. I didn't gulp. I didn't want him to see me desperate. "Thank you," I whispered. My voice was thin, but it didn't shake. He watched me with a terrifying neutrality, like a farmer checking a piece of livestock. "You're smart," he muttered. "Smart girls last longer." They left the door open a crack. A mistake or a psychological game? I didn't care. I pressed my ear to the wood and listened. That's when the names started to drop. Mateo. He wasn't just a guide. He was the scout. He looked for the tourists who traveled alone, the ones who posted too much, the ones who wouldn't be missed for 48 hours. Then, a phrase that chilled me to the bone. The sailor won't notice. The transfer happens before sunrise. But somewhere else on the island, the sailor was already noticing. He stood barefoot where the tide meets the sand. The morning light was turning the sea into a sheet of hammered silver. He wasn't supposed to be here. A delayed departure had grounded his boat. That's why he saw it. A camera strap half buried in the wet sand, pink thread, salt-stained and frayed. He picked it up and turned it over. Inside, written in faded black marker, Lena. He remembered her. 2 days ago, she'd been on the tour, laughing too loud, taking photos of things no one else cared about. She'd asked him about the deep water currents and the hidden coves. She was too curious to just vanish. The sailor looked at the sand. Drag marks, half erased by the tide, footprints that didn't match her sandals. Then he heard it. Mateo's voice near the docks. Too fast, too high-pitched. Mateo was watching the horizon like it owed him money. The sailor didn't call the police. In this part of the world, you never know who's drawing the second paycheck from the guys in the vans. He went back to his boat, and he reached for a knife. Back in the room, they untied me. "Shower, change," one of them barked. They handed me clean clothes, plain, gray, no labels. They were turning me into a ghost. As they marched me down the corridor, I did the only thing I could. I mapped it. 3 left turns, 1 barred window, smell of fuel, a radio playing an upbeat pop song. The contrast made me want to vomit. When we reached the back exit, I made my move. It was small, it was stupid, but it was all I had. I let my beaded bracelet slip from my wrist. It hit the concrete with a tiny clack and rolled into the shadow of a crates. They shoved me into the back of a van, no windows. The engine roared to life, and the humidity of the island was replaced by the cold blast of air conditioning. As we pulled away, my heart hammered against my ribs. The sailor was moving, the scout was waiting, and I was trapped in the middle. I knew someone was coming for me. I just didn't know if he was coming to pull me out of the water or to hold my head under. The van doors opened to heat and silence. Not the pleasant silence of a private beach. This was jungle silence, thick, heavy, like the trees themselves were holding their breath, waiting for something to happen. They pulled me out. There was no shouting now, no rush, just routine. That was the most terrifying part. To them, this was just another Tuesday, another shipment being processed. We walked toward a hidden dock, buried deep behind a wall of mangroves. No lights, no signs, just a narrow skiff rocking impatiently in the black water. "This is it," one of them said. He wasn't talking to me. You don't talk to cargo. That's when I saw it, a shape on the water about 200 yards out, a white hull sitting low and silent, no music, no tourist flags, just a ghost ship watching us without pretending not to. My heart hammered against my ribs. I knew if I got on that skiff, I was gone forever. I had to break the routine. I stumbled, hard. "Careful," a man snapped, grabbing my shoulder. I let my knee smash into the wooden planks. The pain was white and blinding, but I welcomed it. It was real. It was a weapon. "I need water," I wheezed. "Please, I'm going to be sick." They cursed. They were annoyed, distracted. For 3 seconds, their eyes weren't on the horizon. They were on the clumsy girl on the floor. I didn't scream for help. I made a sound that didn't belong in nature, a sharp, mechanical shriek that sliced through the jungle air. The sailor heard it. He'd been drifting with the current for the last hour, engine off, binoculars glued to his eyes. He saw the girl fall. He saw the way the man held her arm, not to help her up, but to pin her down. Everything clicked. The pink camera strap, Mateo's nervous eyes. This girl wasn't a tourist anymore. She was a victim. "Move," a voice growled. I looked up. It was Mateo, the friendly guide. "You told me the island was safe," I whispered. For a fraction of a second, something flickered in his eyes. Guilt? No, just the fear of a man who realized he'd been caught. "Get in the boat, Lena, now." I stepped onto the edge of the skiff, and then the world exploded. The white boat surged out of the shadows like a shark. It didn't slow down. It slammed into the dock, the wake throwing everyone off balance. "Hey!" Mateo screamed, reaching for something in his waistband. I didn't wait. I dove. The cold water swallowed me whole. Salt burned my eyes, and the current tried to drag me under the jagged pilings of the dock. My lungs felt like they were going to burst. I kicked, clawing at the dark water, until a pair of massive, calloused hands grabbed me by the life vest. Pop, pop, pop. Bullets hissed into the water, inches from my head. "Stay down," a voice roared. It was the sailor. He hauled me over the rail like a landed fish. Before I could even breathe, he slammed the throttle forward. The engine screamed, and the white boat bucked, tearing away from the mangroves. I collapsed onto the deck, coughing up salt water, my body shaking so hard I thought my teeth would break. I looked back at the receding shoreline. Mateo was standing on the ruined dock, his silhouette getting smaller against the green jungle. He wasn't running, he was just watching us. The sailor didn't look back. He kept his eyes on the open sea, his hand white-knuckled on the wheel. "Are you okay?" he asked. His voice was steady, but I could see the sweat on his neck. "They'll follow us," I managed to choke out. The sailor looked at the GPS, then back at me. "Let them," he said. "They're in my yard now." I looked at the horizon and realized the terrifying truth. The escape was the easy part. Surviving the night, that was the real test.
The sea was rougher farther out. Not the cinematic, giant waves you see in movies, just a relentless, choppy movement that reminds you how small you are when everything goes wrong. I lay on the deck, wrapped in a towel that smelled like salt and engine oil. My body was shaking, a delayed reaction to the adrenaline that refused to let go. "They'll circle back," the sailor said. His eyes never left the horizon. They always do. I pushed myself up on my elbows. My throat felt like it was lined with sandpaper. "How do you know that?" I managed to ask. He glanced at me, just for a second. "Because this isn't their first time, Lena, and it won't be their last. Not unless someone stops the clock." We didn't head for the main harbor. That surprised me. Instead, he steered toward the rocky, jagged side of the island, the part tourists never see. No white sand, no luxury villas, just sharp cliffs and dark water. "They control the obvious places," he said, his voice low. "The docks, the main roads, half the local police. If we show up there, you'll disappear before we hit the pier." He cut the engine in a narrow inlet. Only then did he truly look at me. "I'm Evan," he said. And I know you're Lena. My breath hitched. How? He reached into a locker and handed me an object that made my heart stop. My camera. The strap was gone. The lens was cracked. It was caked in dried salt. I found this on the beach yesterday, Evan said. I remembered you from the tour. You didn't look like the kind of person who just drops their gear and walks away. We waited until the sun dipped below the horizon. I told him everything. The smell of the room, the clicking fan, Mateo, and the phrase that kept echoing in my skull. Someone is coming for you, not your family. Evan listened. He didn't doubt me for a second. There's a mothership, he said when I finished. A transfer vessel. It stays in international waters. No jurisdiction, no laws. It's leaving tonight. I swallowed hard. That's where I was going. I know, he said. He handed me a dry hoodie and a burner phone. Now, we're going to make sure no one else ever boards that boat. We didn't storm the dock. We didn't play heroes. We became ghosts. We followed their lights from a mile away, Evan's boat running dark. No navigation lights, just the GPS and the stars. When the transfer started, when the skiffs began to unload their human cargo onto that rusted freighter, we didn't fire shots. We sent data, coordinates, high-res photos, audio of the men laughing as they traded lives for wire transfers. Evan had connections they didn't account for, Coast Guard units that weren't on the payroll. By the time the patrol boats converged, the kidnappers were still arguing about fuel. They never saw it coming. It was over before the first light of dawn touched the water. I saw Mateo as they led him away in zip ties. He didn't look at me. He couldn't. I didn't need him to. I didn't need an apology. I just needed him to be a number in a cell. I stood on the pier as the sky turned a bruised purple and then a soft, bleeding pink. My hands were still shaking, but my feet felt like they were finally part of the earth again. Evan stood beside me. He didn't try to hug me. He didn't offer a cliché. "You okay?" he asked. I looked out at the ocean, the place that almost swallowed me. "I will be," I said. I didn't think I would be, but I am. Later that day, I posted one last photo. No location, no beach, no best life caption, just the horizon. Caption, "Still here." I closed the app and deleted it. Some stories don't belong to the algorithm. They belong to the people who noticed.